Welcome to a trade deadline talk. I'm Anthony. That little crapper in white shirt is Alex.
I'm Colin.
And Jake Arrieta is Colin. And we're... Oh, shit. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
No.
Okay. My microphone sucks, so whatever. But yeah, we're going to do a trade deadline discussion. And we promise to leave our 1980s throwback jerseys at home, and the scissors have been put away. And Chris Sale is not in the building, so we don't have to worry about that.
Yep.
So I guess we're going to first start off with what trades have already been done. There's been some trades done going back to April. So I picked out the ones that had actual exchanges of players, not any of those for cash players, and only those involving perennial or possible playoff teams. So the first one was the Blue Jays get Jason Grilli from the Braves for Sean Ratcliffe. What did you guys?
Well, truthfully, I don't know much about this Sean Ratcliffe guy. I just see, a contender getting a back of the bullpen arm, which, is what you need in October. So,
yeah, I don't know anything about Ratcliffe either. I'm guessing he's some probably mid-tier prospect that just career minor leaguer. But I know Grilli had like a 6.8 ERA when he was pitching for the Braves. So,
wait,
but
let me stop you there. What team was he pitching for? Yeah, that's all you need to know. It'll be better when he leaves.
Hey, they got Tehran though, but but since going into the Blue Jays in like 16 games, he got like a 1.8 ERA or something. I don't remember the number off the top of my head. And that team needs a lot of pitching help. They can hit all those big bats in that lineup, but pitching is going to be their downfall. We'll get into it. They still need some starting pitching. You had some more relievers, but that's a nice guy to kind of low cost to help you out. So the second one we're going to talk about is kind of a really shitty deal for the team across town from the Cubs. They trade Eric Johnson and Fernando Tatis Jr. for James Shields, who's looked like a piece of crap since coming over. I think his ERA is like 7 or something since getting traded.
Mm-hmm. Well, for Shields, dude, ever since that guy left Kansas City, he wasn't good in San Diego. They thought he was going to be good. He hasn't pitched well for 2 years he's been there. And then
he was all right last year. But
but not like the money he's being paid. And then he goes, he gets traded to the White Sox and he's been getting shellacked every time he goes out there. And they need someone to go right behind Chris Sale. And they have nobody. I mean, they have solid like Rodon.
They got Quintana.
Yeah.
I mean, Rodon is still young. He's got control problems. He's walking everybody.
Yeah.
But he's got some electric stuff, kind of like what Sale's got. And Quintana's sitting behind him. But they were really looking for somebody to kind of take over that third starter role after the White Sox got off to a hot start like the Cubs did. I mean, they were neck and neck with the Cubs for best record for the first few weeks of the season. And then they just kind of tanked. I mean, that's when they made this deal to go out and get there.
Yeah. I think they call that reality, not so much tanking. But, yeah.
Their team is just kind of underperforming. Guys like Jose Abreu haven't been living up to the hype. Todd Frazier's hitting bombs like he's supposed to, but he's only hitting like 220.
Yep.
And that's not going to be very good in the middle of that lineup.
He's got almost like Chris Davis numbers. High home runs, low as hell batting average.
Yeah, the thing with Davis is he still gets on base. He's got that high on base percentage.
True. They do like to walk him a lot. So
yeah, and he's got upwards of 350 and 380 ranges, with him. But yeah, with him, you get all those strikeouts. What do you think about what they gave up for Shields? I mean, Eric Johnson's kind of okay. I don't know much about Fernando Tatis Jr. except that he's the son of Fernando Tatis, and that dude used to rake.
Well, I think it's just one of those things where the White Sox, they started hot, thought that they could maybe keep it going, until October, and then they trade for this guy, and then all of a sudden, like I said, reality set in, and truthfully, Eric Johnson, I don't know much about. The Tatis guy, I'm assuming is a prospect. Like, you look at that, and, they didn't give up a whole lot. The thing on the Shields is that, on paper, he should be a number 2 guy easily behind Sale, but it's not panning out. So
I think the worst part of this deal is that contract that they have to eat now. They didn't really give up.
Do you know the contract? Is it long-term?
I think he's got another year or two after this one.
I thought he signed a 6-year deal with San Diego.
No, maybe it is that long. I
Yeah.
don't actually know the details of his contract, but that might be the actual worst part
Too
of this
long.
deal.
So
Too long.
I guess it's as of now, it's probably like a D rating, but maybe it'll pan out in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I got to give credit to the Padres. They unload that deal.
Yeah.
They may maybe not get the best prospects in return, but they get something that might be serviceable.
The thing with the Padres, though, like offensively, they're solid. Like, well, you'd think they would be. Kemp, Myers, Upton, all those guys.
Those three guys have been playing pretty well, actually.
Right. But the thing with the Padres that from their side, I mean, I truthfully, I don't know how old Shields is off the top of my head, but God, they haven't been relevant in years. And they keep trading away these free agents that they sign. And getting guys like Matt Kemp and just eating all.
Well,
this
they tried
money.
to go for it last year. I mean, they traded. I forget who they traded, but they brought in Kimbrel from the Braves, and that team last year was just horrible.
Yeah,
and they were supposed to have this perfect squad put together. But
I don't see them getting any better. Like their offense is good, solid, but I know Tyson Ross. I don't know if he's back yet, but that's like the only pitcher I can name on that team.
He should be back, I think, near the end of July, right before he might get one start as an addition to being traded. I don't know if anybody's going to want him though.
Oh yeah, then they traded Pomerantz. So
yeah, we're going to get to that deal.
Right. I just feel like the Padres they keep trying to do this, like sign big names and compete, and then they end up just trading those big names and their prospects away like a year later. That's just what it seems like, at least.
So, all right, the next deal here that we're going to skip over is Kelly Johnson goes to the Mets from the Braves for Akil Morris. That's just another trade the Mets trying to get offense because that fucking team can't hit with runners in scoring position at all.
True.
Historically bad with runners in scoring position. They're as bad as 1962 Padres or something like that. That team was an expansion team that won 40 games.
2015 Phillies, maybe? Are they in there in that conversation?
This isn't Ryan Howard we're talking about.
Oh, we'll get to that. Oh, I'm ready for that. All right.
God.
That deal is finally almost done with.
I know.
You're in the final year of suffering with him. But all right, the next deal is the Cubs get Chris Coughlin from the Athletics for Arismendi Alcantara. This deal hasn't panned out the way that a lot of Cubs fans and the organization would have hoped, but I still have faith in Coughlin. I know he hasn't had the best year up to this point, but the guy can hit still pretty well. He can play multiple positions, and at worst, he's a guy that can come off the bench and be a left-handed hitter, which is what they're looking for right now. I know that they're in the market, and we'll get into this later when we're talking about the Cubs, but they're talking about going after Josh Reddick, but that price tag might be too high, and I don't know if there's any other lefty bats out there that are worth going for. So I think that this might be a guy down the stretch that might pan out. And they give up Alcantara, who he was good in his first half season coming up, but last year when he was up here, he was only up for like 26 at bats, and he was like 2 for 26, and he hasn't hit since going back down to the minors. So a talented guy, but I don't know how much he's really going to be able to harness his potential.
I think it's kind of like it's good because he was a Cub last year, and he did pretty well for us last year. It just kind of, to me, so far it's been very disappointing, but I think he will come in handy later in the season. It just hasn't materialized yet. And the main reason we needed him was the Schwarber injury, like hands down. Our outfield was, Fowler's finally back now, but our outfield was really struggling. And it was.
Yeah, and I started to wonder how much did that rib injury, how long was that bothering him, and how much did that affect his hitting?
Yeah. So he still might be nursing an injury too. So
yeah, he's been on the DL for a while, but I think he's almost back.
When did you guys acquire him?
Back in April, I think.
Okay. All right. Well, like my only thing with the, I mean, yeah, you trade away Alcantara. I mean, like, do you guys need prospects right now? Let's be real. Like, your whole lineup is completely stacked with guys who were in the farm like 2 or 3 years ago.
I mean, the thing with Alcantara is he would have been a nice little throw-in piece to a deal.
What does he? No, I'm sorry. What does he play?
He's kind of a utility guy.
Okay.
He can play all over the field.
Okay.
I think predominantly he's a center fielder / second baseman, but he can play short.
Okay.
Probably play corner outfields too. So
I just think you get a guy like Coughlin who played for you guys last year, and then has experience up there. So if you need to call upon him in October, which you guys will be there, like it's just one of those things. Like it's helpful to have another guy around who knows how to hit.
I think
all right.
He's going to be a bench bat, so he's going to help out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think that'd be. That's what we need him for. And I think if he can kind of get his confidence back, that he can be solid down the stretch, which is all we need.
Last point on him is just I think later in the season, like in September, late September, when you guys have already clinched and like you're ready to roll in, he's going to be starting, getting warmed up, getting back into his routine, his rotation, and then he'll come good in the playoffs. That's what I think. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
But
all right, so the next deal here is the first of quite a few Red Sox deals. We're not going to get into this one much, but they get Aaron Hill and cash from the Brewers for Wendell Rijo and Aaron Wilkerson. Rijo and Wilkerson are, I think, mid-tier prospects. They might have overpaid a little bit here, but they get a little bit of cash, which will help them out. But then here, Red Sox get Brad Ziegler from the Diamondbacks for Jose Almonte and Luis Alejandro. This is kind of shoring up a back into that bullpen. I don't know. I didn't necessarily understand this deal a little much because, I mean, at the back end of that bullpen, they got what's his name? Chizawa or whatever. Yeah, they have one of those guys. And then
Uhara.
That's who I'm thinking of. And then they got Kimbrel in the ninth.
Well,
this to me was trying to fill the hole left by Carson Smith's UCL injury.
Well, and Kimbrel's on the DL for the time being, if I'm not mistaken.
Right now, yeah.
Because I dropped him in fantasy, but
I saw that
he's on the DL. But I think with this guy, you can never have too many bullpen arms. That's the truth of it. And come October, with the other players that they've acquired, like Pomeranz, like Hill, like these guys, like why not? Like you may as well go all in.
I think the Red Sox and Cubs are both all in this year.
Yeah.
That's kind of the two teams to me where they're all in.
See, the thing with the Cubs is they're all in this year, and then they're all in for the next decade.
Yeah, that's another story. But I'm saying the Red Sox are trying for it this year because
they want to send Poppy off. Is what they want.
And think about it. Think about that rotation now. Oh my God. Right? Like seriously, David Price.
Let's not get too high on that rotation. I mean,
David Price, Stephen Wright, who you have incessantly tried to trade me this year. Aaron Hill.
Oh no, I haven't tried to trade Jack. I stole him from Colin.
But think about those top four. Like seriously, Price, Wright this year, right?
The reason they went out and got Pomeranz is because their rotation was trash for the first half of the season. They were smoking the baseball and still barely winning games.
And I know they moved Buckles to the bullpen, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I saw the Cubs attached with a rumor for Clay Buchholz, but I'm like,
trying to bring the old Red Sox team back together.
Stay out of there. Yeah, I wouldn't if I was y'all.
Well, I mean, that's why Theo is interested in Josh Reddick, is because he drafted him back when he was in Boston.
Yeah.
But all right, let's go to the Pomeranz deal. Okay. The Red Sox get Drew Pomeranz from the Padres, an All-Star, for Anderson Espinoza. I'm going to be honest with you. The Red Sox got gypped here. They got ripped off.
Okay, well, you'll have to enlighten me. I don't know too much about this Espinoza.
This guy, Anderson Espinoza, he throws smoke for one. We're talking mid-90s, 95, 96 miles an hour. He's got decent secondary stuff. Electric arm. I've seen comparisons to Pedro with this kid. And I think he's 19, 18 or 19.
Is he a starter or a bullpen guy?
He's a starter.
Oh.
He's a starter.
Yeah, okay.
But he's got electric stuff from what I hear. He's I think their top pitching prospect. So I mean, Pomeranz, a lefty with team control, is nice, especially when he's only like 27, I think.
Yeah.
But this is a guy who hasn't been filthy his entire career.
The thing, I mean, the thing is, he might be their number one prospect. He might be their best guy in the farm system. But when you're playing as well as they are, when you have all of the offense, and now you're acquiring pitching, you can, to be honest, to win it all, you have to. There's no way around it. You have to trade your best guy to get, to be good.
Well, the thing that I don't like about this deal is, I know the Red Sox have one of the deepest and best farm systems in the majors, so they have a lot of prospects that they can go ahead and sell off when they need to. But this guy, I mean, this is a rotation that 2-3 years on the line, you're not sure who's going to be in that rotation anymore. The only guy that you're sure is going to be there is David Price. I mean, Stephen Wright is 31. He's on the plus side of 30 already. And you don't really know who else is going to be there. So you'd like to have that guy who can eventually take over for Price. Yeah. And now you don't have that. I think that they have a couple of guys like Rafael Devers and stuff that they could have sent. But I mean, they're looking at third base and first base in the future and going, who the hell are we going to play here as well? So I think that's the thing about the Red Sox is I'd be careful about how much you trade away because that roster is getting old. You know, their studs are old.
But
I mean,
that's
they got
another reason to win now. It's another reason
Yeah.
to put it all in right now, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, they want to send Poppy out with a bang. So, well, he's doing that himself, though, with his
He needs to
numbers
play
so
one
far
more
this year.
freaking
Jesus.
season. I mean, he's my AL MVP right now. I
Easily.
mean, his OPS is like almost 1,100. It's ridiculous.
Okay.
Colin, what do you think?
I like the trade for the Red Sox. I know you're saying I do think it's a little. It is. They're really good prospect, but I think they're, like I said earlier, they're trying to win now. Like Alex is saying, they need to. They're kind of going all in this year. I think they're looking at the future. All their stars are getting older, and they're trying to win it this year. So, I mean, for me, my favorite Red Sox this year is Mookie. Like, I don't know, he came out of nowhere, I think, for a while, and he's just been tearing it up. Him and
He's
Ortiz.
been kind of teetering on a breakout. He's been playing well, but just not as
just
much as
never,
everybody knew that potential was there.
Yeah, exactly. So,
But
I mean, he's just been killing it. So, they definitely, for me, I think they should go all in. I think it's not the greatest deal, but it's not horrible either. I think Pomeranz will pan out pretty well for him, but
yeah.
we'll have to
All right,
see.
so let's get to the deal that Colin and I am sure have been over in our heads a million times. The Cubs get Mike Montgomery and Jordan Price from the Mariners for Dan Vogelbach and Paul Blackburn. So what I'll say about this, Montgomery is kind of that tweener. You can stretch him out, he could be a starter, but he's also a pretty solid left-handed specialist in the bullpen. You look at his numbers last year, he was all right as a starter. This year in the pen, he's increased his velocity up to about 94 miles an hour on his fastball. He's really good shutting down left-handed hitters. He got hit a little hard in his first outing.
The debut was a little.
I'm not going to judge a guy based on his debut. I mean, if we did that, Chris Bryant struck out 3 times in his debut, last year. But I like the get here. I was a little bit disappointed to see the kind of the lower value that we got for Dan Vogelbach. I valued him a little bit higher because that bat is for real. I know he's got his limitations in the field, but that bat's for real. But yeah, I mean, Jordan Price and Paul Blackburn, that's just a swap of 2 older prospects is all that is. I mean, I don't even really see that really playing into the deal at all. One thing I'll say about Blackburn is that guy can't strike anybody out. He's got like a 6.2 Ks per 9 or something like that. It's atrocious.
I don't know. I like the deal. We need as much bullpen help as we can get. And Vogelbach's never going to play for us because Rizzo is blocking him. So, I mean, we needed to get rid of him this year. This is the year to get rid of him, and I don't know.
Yeah, he's having a pretty good season. His value is probably at a peak,
and
right?
It's going to work out for Dan, too, because he's finally going to be able to play at Major League level.
I was happy. He'll probably get called up in late August, early September. He'll definitely get called up in September.
Yep.
But he projects long-term as a DH anyways. I mean, he lack of athleticism, so he can't really play the field all that well. But that big left-handed bat. So, yeah, I'm happy. I was actually happy for him to go, especially to the Mariners, which is a nice park for him to be playing in, that left-handed bat.
And he'll fit right in if his bat's as good as you guys say it is.
Yeah.
They can mash up there in Seattle, that's for sure.
Yeah, and he doesn't have a whole lot of holes in his swing either, which is nice.
Okay.
He hits for a decent average and for some good power. He's got some good pop, too. He'll probably hit about 25, 30 a season. Hit you about 280.
How old is this guy, Vogelbach?
I think he's 23, 22 or 23, I'm not sure.
He's a first
Still
baseman.
decently young. Yeah, first baseman. But he'll probably, if he doesn't play first base, he'll probably DH.
Well, you can do that in the AL.
Yeah, yes, you can. So, all right. This next trade we're going to talk about hasn't been completed yet, but from what all 3 of us have been hearing and seeing, this shit about to go down tomorrow. The Cubs are going to send Gleyber Torres to the Yankees for Aroldis Chapman, and I just got giddy on the inside.
Oh God!
I'm a little disappointed when the text comes through and I see the Cubs are going to send number 1 prospect, and that number 1 prospect thing bothers me. But you got to remember, this kid's 19 years old. He's only down in high A ball right now, and when you think about it, he's kind of got a little bit interesting of a route he's got to try to take to the majors, because not only does he have to develop properly, but he's got to jump prospects like Ian Happ, and he's got to jump major leaguers like Javier Baez, who probably both project as long-term second baseman. That is, unless the Cubs move Bryant to left field, move Javi to third, and then you still got to try to jump Happ.
See, the thing is with Torres is that, like you said, good luck starting for the Cubs in the next 7 to 8 years. Like, let's be serious here. Like, there's no room. There's just no room for him. He's like you said, number one prospect, so it looks good for the Yankees to get someone like that. But and I'm looking at the Yankees though on their end. Where are they going to fit him in, right? They just got Castro from the Cubs. They got that Gregorius kid.
Well, he's a shortstop. Well. So
Gregorius, though, like he's been playing pretty well, and they really like him. So from Torres' perspective, it's kind of the same situation. He'll still be able to develop in New York, but maybe a sooner window to come to the majors than with Chicago.
Well, the thing with the Yankees for Torres, you could play him at second base, but the thing is, they also have Rob Reifendorfer, or however you say it, Reifendorfer or something, I don't even know.
You got me.
He's a pretty decent left-handed bat. But one thing I'll say with Castro is he does have the arm strength to play third base.
Okay, well, I was just throwing it out there. That's what I think. But
I know there was a lot of talk, with how back when we were talking about Javier Baez, and as soon as we got Addison Russell, the talk all of a sudden became what are we going to do with Castro? Is he going to play third base now and Baez play second? People were always wondering, and I think he's athletic enough, and I know he has his defensive struggles, but he's got that athleticism, he's got that arm strength to play third base. So they might be looking at that long term, or they might try to flip Castro for some prospect if they want to. So,
okay, yeah.
But what do you think about the Cubs getting Chapman? Like, does he project as the closer, or does Rondon stay in that role?
I think
does he project as the closer? No.
Hold on now. Hey, Rondon's been really good this year.
Yeah, okay. He might have been, but Chapman will be the closer. You don't bring a guy in for your number one prospect to sit like in a seventh inning role. I don't see it.
The thing is I don't know. The theory has been in the past too is you don't put your best pitcher in your closer role. You put him in your seventh or eighth inning role, because that's when you need to get the outs the most.
I think honestly he would be the eighth inning guy.
That's kind of what I think. Is
Stroke seventh, Chapman eighth, and Rondon ninth. I don't know. I mean, you can argue him being the closer. Maybe they'll switch off. Who knows? I don't know. But
that might be. They might actually do it by a committee thing. Whoever's feeling best hand, or if you got a couple lefties coming up that inning, it might be something like that.
Plus, closers can get hit quite a bit, and it's nice to have someone that you can move in the ninth inning if you need him to.
Yeah, you can't hit 105 miles an hour because you can't see it.
No. I'm saying, like, if they explode on a pitcher, get 4 runs on him, it shakes him a little bit. And to have someone like Chapman, it's like, okay, we're gonna put you in the ninth inning now, where he's used to being. I think it can't hurt. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that bothers me is I see a lot of Cubs fans, and I swear these are the same people that started watching the Cubs last September. Who say Rondon sucks, he's such a horrible closer. It's like, have you guys watched a Cubs baseball game in the last 3 years? He's been one of the most consistent Cubs bullpen arms in the last 3 seasons. I mean, he's got 95, 96 mile an hour stuff, and he's got that nasty wipeout slider.
You mean he's better than that? Oh, God, well, I can't remember your closer from last year.
No, you're talking about Marmol from a few years ago.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
The one thing I'll say about that dude is, man, that slider was nasty as hell. He just couldn't throw it for a strike.
Okay, there you go. All right.
But, all right, so that'll lead it right into our Cubs discussion. If they do go out and get Chapman, which this deal looks like it's going to happen, what else do they need? I mean, they get that bull at the back end of that bullpen that they needed. And so now they got the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings covered. I trust the rest of the guys in that bullpen to take care of the other innings. And I like what the rotation has so far, including the fact that we still have Warren and we now have Montgomery, who can be stretched out into starters if we need them. And there's Matsu, which is in the bullpen, which is in the minors, who can also be used as a starter. So I think we got our starting pitching depth if we need it. So the only other need I can think of is that left-handed bat. And like we were talking earlier, I think the only guy that fits that bill is Reddick.
I was thinking maybe helping in the starting pitching aspect, but now that I've seen Kyle Hendricks coming out of nowhere, well, not out of nowhere, but he's emerged and blowing
The
it
thing
away.
is, I'm going to stop you for a second. When are we going to start talking about Kyle Hendricks as an actual top 15 pitcher in this league? Because he doesn't.
You laugh.
I see you laughing at me, but
Sorry.
listen to me. If
Top
you look at
15's
his
a little
numbers,
high, bro.
Look at his numbers, dude.
I can
Look
name
at his
15
numbers
better
the
than
last two
I
seasons.
can name 15 better than him right off the top of my head. Okay.
we don't have the time for you to go do that. But
That's not that hard. That's the thing.
the point I'm trying to make is he's not flashy. He doesn't jump off the page at you, but you look at
what
his
is
numbers.
It, the last 4 or 5 games, 0 earned runs? Is it 4?
I think it's the last 4 games he hasn't given up an earned run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, okay, but now let me ask you, devil's advocate over here. Hamill starts really well, right? But you guys say he always cools off in the second half of the season, right?
Yeah.
Hendricks, for me, I've watched tons of Cubs game with Colin. I don't get how a guy who can throw 78 miles an hour top speed can be an MLB pitcher. And I don't know. I know
he reminds me so much of Greg Maddux. It's unbelievable. The guy is all about location, changing speeds, and movement.
Okay, I get it. The
He
technicality
throws 2
good.
pitches. He throws the sinker at 88. He throws a changeup at 80, and then he'll throw in a cutter and a curveball every now and then. And that's all he throws.
I'm basically just fucking with you, but I think it's funny how he mainly throws 80 miles an hour. But he's been good, no doubt about it. I
watched the last game that he pitched against the Mets. I was watching him, and he threw a sinker at 87 on the inside corner, and he just froze the hell out of the hitter. The dude just turned his head and just goes, "Fuck, how the hell am I supposed to hit that?" Because the thing starts aiming at you, and the sinker just breaks right back over the plate. I don't know how he gets that thing to move so much, but he does.
I think just last year he was just frustrating because he was pretty inconsistent. You'd either get blown up or you'd have a great game. It's no in between for him. But
he threw well in the playoffs last year.
Yeah, this year he's finally consistent. He's finally figured out that control to a T. So it's looking good for him. But
with that velocity, you got to be able to hit your spots.
Yeah, exactly.
But as far as a need, if I'm looking at the Cubs, starting pitching, like Colin said, Hendricks has been good, Hamill has been good, but outside of Arrieta, Lackey, Lester, those 3, are you 100% confident in October, in a potential series clincher?
I feel confident in those top 3.
Right.
Really, in October, you just need a 4th pitcher.
Exactly.
And
that's what I'm saying.
I think between Lackey and Hamill, they're going to battle it out for that 4th pitching spot. And if those 2 get hurt or don't have it, then somehow, some way, I think Adam Warren or Matsu or Montgomery might fight for that position. It'll be dependent. You just go with the hot hand in that 4th spot.
Truthfully, the Cubs, they don't need anything, but it would be nice for me to get another starter. That's my opinion. I think.
For me, it's the left-handed bat. The problem is the only bat worth going out and getting is Reddick, and I don't know if the price tag is worth it.
Yeah.
Especially now if the Cubs give up Torres to go to Chapman. I don't think we're going to see any more moves out of the Cubs because I don't think any price tags are going to fit.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think?
Yeah, like Alex said, I agree that I think we're good. If this Chapman, even if this Chapman deal doesn't go through, I still think we're good. But we definitely, I think. If we had to get one more thing, it'd be maybe just another starting pitcher, just in case an injury happens, or you never know. You just want to make sure that we're ready to go for October. So
yeah, I imagine that they'll go pretty hard after the starter in the offseason.
Yeah,
they'll trade Soler. I don't see them trading Soler right now because the way that he hit in October last year, you want to have that bat on your 25-man roster.
Yeah.
But I imagine Soler probably won't start next season on the Cubs. I think they're going to use his value to try and go out and get some young starter with team control. And there's a lot of guys like that out there that are available, a couple of which are some of the Rays pitchers.
I hear the Padres are trading their pitching. You could look for Tyson Hill or something. Tyson Ross.
There's not a lot of team control left on Ross, though. That's the problem. He's only got a year or 2 left.
But yeah, I think if I'm a free agent and I'm who do I want to sign for?
I want the Braves.
I like the Cubs. Yeah, that sounds good.
I want Tehran, whatever. Is that how you say his name?
Oh,
Tehran?
Tehran. The problem is with the way that he's throwing right now.
Too high of a price tag, probably.
That guy is going to be sky. And he's still got team control left. He's got another 3 or 4 years of team control left.
And he's putting like Cy Young numbers up in Atlanta.
Oh, especially with Kershaw going down with his back injury, the Cy Young Award just went from being a lock to wide open. Whoever dominates in the second half is going to win that award because Kershaw is going to miss extended time.
Yeah. All right.
So,
what's
all
next?
right, let's switch gears and let's talk about the Phillies.
Here we go. All right.
I would talk shit about you not winning since 2008, but then I remember we haven't won since 1908, so I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
Yeah, subtract 100, and then you can talk. But the thing, all right, so being the Phillies fan of the chat here, I think when you look at our team, top to bottom, the age, the starting pitching this year, which started off like insanely good.
Your starting pitching's actually been pretty solid all season.
Yeah, it's been really solid. I think Hellickson's going to be gone to someone before the trade deadline's gone. But I think when you look at our offense, you got guys like, so I don't know how the hell we managed to get Herrera off the Rangers in that Rule 6 draft. Like, that's ridiculous. Now, he's an all-star. I like Hernandez.
Is he Rule 6 or Rule 5?
He was, Rule 5. It might have
been
been
Rule 6 draft.
But I look at, like, all of our young players, like, you know, the Ashes, the Herreras, the Galvis, the Hernandez. Then you got guys like Nola in the rotation. You got Velasquez. You got Eflin. Our farm league, you know, thank Christ our GM actually traded some of our good players away so we could rebuild our farm system.
Yeah, that deal you guys for sending Cole Hamels is going to end up turning out pretty good for you because you got Jake Thompson.
And for Giles. Don't forget, when we traded Ken Giles to Houston.
What did you get in that deal?
We got Velasquez and Mark Apple.
That's right.
Mark Apple, who I know just from watching the College World Series here a few years ago when UCLA won the
Listen, that's the first overall pick you traded for.
Yes.
Who didn't sign, you know, that was a whole mess. But
his thing was that he was not pitching well in the farm for Houston. And he hadn't pitched well for a couple of years, so they were like, all right, we'll get him out, change of scenery. And we get probably their 2 top pitching prospects that aren't already in the majors. I think full from top to bottom, give it 3 to 4 years, and we'll be right back where you guys are. Boom.
And sit here. Look what pops up on my phone.
It's kind of blurry. Oh, in talks with – yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, I think I was doing some reading on Bleacher Report. I think Jeremy Hellickson is good as gone. 1-year deal. It's exactly what you sign a guy like that for. You get him to have a good season. You flip him at the deadline. It's exactly what the Cubs did 2-3 straight years. I mean, it's how we got Arrieta and Strope, and it's how we got Addison Russell because we flipped Feldman and we flipped Hamill. Now, to get Russell, we also flipped Samardzija, Bleacher Report also said that they think that Genmar Gomez is going to get dealt at the deadline.
He's come out of nowhere.
Yeah, and that's the thing is he's come out of nowhere. He's still got team control. He's only 28, but you want to sell high on a guy like that.
Yep, I agree. We're not done. We're not done trading. I still think a lot of our players. And
David
I'll throw this in there just for my own peace of mind. Thank fuck Ryan Howard is gone after this year. Thank Christ. Like,
you are sorry.
Thank you so much, Ryan, for the 2008 World Series. I love you for it. But God, it feels like a lifetime ago. All right, like he's been so bad.
He hasn't been the same.
But I think we're on the way up. We're on the way up. Top 5 farm system, and we will be competing again in 3 to 4 years. That's what
I would put earlier than that because you got some good major league talent right now too. But who's that first baseman that you guys got?
Tommy Joseph.
Yeah, he's been playing pretty well.
The thing is with him, he's 27. He was like a career minors guy, and he was on fire down there. So they call him up. But we have tons of hitting guys in our farm pool and tons of arms.
Can you explain me what the hell happened to Dominic Brown?
Okay, so if I'm not mistaken, a couple years ago when he had went off for the first half of the season, he had 20 home runs in the first half, and then like similar to whatever team we talked about earlier, where I said, the White Sox. Reality set in, and he was always a guy who struck out a lot and didn't get good contact. And I'm pretty sure he's in the farm league somewhere for some other team doing nothing, as far as I know.
He's with the Blue Jays.
The Blue Jays, but he's not in the majors. He's back down there refining his swing. He's so hot and cold. He's so streaky, and he wasn't. I don't think his defense.
You guys, do you think? I don't think they will, but do you think that they'll trade Hector and Neris at all?
I hope not. I hope not. But
he's only 26.
Right.
That's a guy that can anchor your bullpen in the coming years. But
I could totally see him being traded. I don't think there's anyone safe on the roster unless you're under 24 years old. I think if you're above that, they'll probably entertain any offer that comes their way. But in free agency, I think we're going to start signing some big names again.
Yeah,
you got some money.
I like their cap space. Yeah, they have a ton of cap space, and it's looking good for the future for the Phillies.
I'll throw this to sorry,
throw it out.
Just because it'll be hilarious. I give it when Mike Trout becomes a free agent, he's going to Philly.
I'm not even letting you finish that sentence.
Yep. Hey, Quags,
no,
you know what would be worse?
I'm not letting you finish that sentence.
Or, as Colin's about to say.
You know what would be worse? If Jake Arrieta goes to Philly. You know what
God,
will happen
no. Not because obviously I'd be sad to see Jake go, but I understand that there's a high chance that he might. But please don't go to this asshole's place.
No, I don't think it's going to happen. In reality, I know the Mike Trout thing. I was just joking. So,
all right, we're back. We had a little connection issue.
All right, my last
point
for the Phillies, and I was joking about Mike Trout. Let's be real. He's not going anywhere from LA. But there is another superstar who, for some reason, people say will sign with us when he's a free agent. And he's coming from across the pond, really. And his name's Bryce Harper. Watch out for it.
I don't know if Harper even leaves Washington. It matters how well they do in the next few years. But that man is going to command $500 million. And I don't know if the Phillies have that much money.
Oh, we will. Believe me.
Listen, the only kind of people that have that kind of money are Yankees and Dodgers. The only two organizations I can think of that can afford that contract.
We'll have the money for him. I have no doubt about it. And I'm not okay. Please don't think that I know for sure this is going to happen. I don't think it will. It's just one of those things they're throwing out there. But we will have the money to sign players of that caliber within the next few years.
It just depends who wants to go somewhere.
Oh, yeah. Who wouldn't want to go to a young competing team similar to the one the Cubs? Jesus.
The Nats, but he don't want to leave the Nats. They got a pretty decent farm system there.
The Nats, yeah. Okay, here's
they
what
just
they
need
do
to sign
every
a free. They just need to get somebody who can hit.
They do about as much as the Phillies right now in the postseason, and we're not even there. All right, what does that tell you? Seriously. Shout-outs to PJ if you're watching this.
He's just an Orioles fan.
Oh, yeah, but we're from D.C. Whatever.
No, just don't ever say he's a Ravens fan. He'll flip a.
Oh, I thought he was. No, I'm kidding.
All right, so let's identify the for sure buyers right now. So we got the Red Sox, the Orioles, the Blue Jays, Indians, Tigers, Rangers, Astros, Nationals, Mets, Marlins, Cubs, Cardinals, Pirates, Giants, and Dodgers. I don't think I think those are the for sure people. I don't really see anybody on there that isn't in the playoff hunt that would probably want to be a seller.
I have a couple that maybe shouldn't be on that list that I think will stay pat. I think the Marlins are going to stay pat.
I don't think so.
Well, okay.
They're leading the wild. Not leading. They're leading the second spot for the wild card right now.
Okay. Well,
that's just playing good baseball.
I think they stay pat. But if they need pitch outside of Fernandez, they could use some pitching. But I think they stay pat. I think the Astros. Tough to say.
I call them buyers because they're in the playoff hunt, but they're not going to do anything.
Yeah.
And they just called up Alex Bregman. That's the biggest acquisition they're going to get for the trade deadline.
And I think the Mets are a maybe as well.
The Mets will because they need bats. They really do.
Truthfully, I don't know if they're even going to make it to the playoffs.
They're like the Marlins. They're right in the thick of things in that wild card.
Right. I don't think they're going to make it this year, though. I think their bats have really fallen off. Outside of Cespedes, like their bats have really fallen off this year from where they were.
Do you guys say Orioles yet? I don't think they're gonna do much more.
Hmm.
I don't know. I think they're gonna stay pat.
Yeah, they're solid. I
They're
like
solid,
the Orioles.
so
Yeah, they need some pitching, but
Yeah.
I don't think. Again, these repeat teams that would go into the buyer category is not necessarily they're going to actually
Right.
make.
Yeah.
But if they were to, yeah, it would make sense.
Yeah.
I got you.
The for sure sellers would be the Rays, the Twins, which that team has been horrible this year. Angels, Athletics, Brewers, Reds, Rockies, Padres, and Diamondbacks. All those teams are cellar dwellers. I wouldn't really
add Philly to the discussion. I mean, we're not going to trade too many people, but Philly will be a seller. We're definitely not going to acquire anybody.
Oh, I actually went right past the Phillies and didn't even put them on my list. That's how little I care about the Philadelphia Phillies.
Yeah.
the team that surprised me on sellers this year are the Diamondbacks. What the heck happened with them?
Yeah,
Oh my
Shelby
God.
Miller's down in AAA. Zach Greinke's on the DL.
I was like, they're gonna do great this year, and they just it didn't measure.
You know what
well.
I'll tell you? Doomed that team was AJ Pollock breaking his
Oh yeah, that was huge.
wrist or something, or he dislocated elbow, or he did something to his arm. But
I think it was his elbow,
derailed
yeah.
that team from the
Yeah.
very beginning.
Yeah,
Well,
he's the heart of that team.
Again, on paper, look at that freaking team. You'd think they're right up there competing, like winning the division easily. The Diamondbacks, like especially with their
People
call
thought they
ups,
would be.
like Brandon Drury, Jake Lamb has been insane this year. Castillo behind the plate's been good.
I think that they can turn it around next year, and I think that at the deadline they're going to be kind of planning for next year. It's just kind of been a weird year for them.
Yeah,
But I think that they have the talent on that roster, and they can acquire some more of it to be competitive for the next couple of years.
I've heard they're shopping Shelby Miller, so that's interesting.
I don't think
I don't know if
the
they
thing
will.
with that is I don't think they will pull the trigger on that because they gave up so much to get him, and
Yeah, I know.
his value is just down.
yeah. I would say that. What are we talking about? The Diamondbacks. They're at the beginning of what I think is going to be like a few years of like high level competition for anybody in the NL, in my opinion.
Yeah, they're only gonna compete for a couple of years
Yeah,
because
this is just year one. You know, it's just like truthfully, like the Cubs. Like when you guys started calling up prospects like crazy, it wasn't like you were winning the World Series or getting there that first year. You know, it's a
I mean,
process.
the Cubs probably have the widest window in the majors for competitive World Series championships right now.
agree.
I would say.
I agree.
I would probably put the Diamondbacks a couple years starting right now.
The problem with the Diamondbacks is their division. They got the Giants, the Dodgers. Both of those teams will always.
If the
be-
Rockies can ever find somebody,
Yeah,
who
the
can
Rockies
pitch
too
without
aren't that
giving
bad.
a home
Like
run.
they always have a competition. The Giants and the Dodgers are always going to be at the top. They're always going to be struggling to win the division, so it's going to be hard for the Diamondbacks, I think.
I mean, you talk about a team that can mash. The freaking Rockies can mash,
Yeah,
and it's
they
not just because they play at Coors Field.
Yep. Shout out Trevor Story. I met him in Irving, Texas. He's from there. Just saying.
Tell him to stop striking out so much.
I'll also tell him to stop hitting 25 home runs already as shortstop.
He
in
hit
the
2
rookie
more
year.
tonight. He's at 27.
He's a rookie and has 25 home runs in the majors.
27,
halfway through the
he hit
season.
2 of them tonight.
Oh, thank you for proving my point. He's got 25 plus home runs, barely over the All-Star break.
All right, so these teams, I want you guys to tell me if they're going to be a buyer or a seller. The Yankees were on this list, but from reports now, it looks like they're finally going to make the right decision and be a seller. But
I would still argue that the Yankees always end up getting people. That's just what they do, you know?
because the Steinbrenners can't ever give up and
That's what
say,
I'm
hey,
saying.
listen, the
They're
season's over.
They're always going to be a team that acquires players at the deadline, whether it's prospects or whether it's guys who are going to play right away. They're always going to be that guy.
Yeah, that's a team that, I mean, they're I think they're making the right move. They're dealing Chapman for Gleyber Torres. I guess you could argue against trading Andrew Miller because of how much control they got left on him. They probably still think that they can compete next year. But I mean, we're talking about Alex Rodriguez, Carlos Beltran, Mark Teixeira, CC Sabathia, Jacoby Ellsbury. All these dudes are old as hell. What are they trying to win? A 2009 World Series? I mean, shit.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, I don't know.
all right,
They
what do
need
you
to be
guys-
sellers, but I don't think they're going to be. I think they're going to get rid of Chapman, but I think they're keeping Miller. That's my opinion, but we'll
Yeah,
see.
it looked like they will
Unless
keep
they get a huge price tag for him, I don't think they're going to deal him.
Yeah, like Schwarber,
Yeah, which
which the Cubs were never going to do
Yeah.
because they're smarter than the average player. But anyway, so what do you guys think about the Royals? I think last I checked, they were 500.
The thing with the Royals, ravaged by injuries this year. That's just all there is to it. I think they'll stay pat. I think they'll just stay pat.
Yeah, the problem with this team is they're kind of in a precarious position because some of their studs are running out of team control and running out of years on their contracts. Guys like Wade Davis only have a year left after this season. That bullpen is evaporating. That got them to the 2 straight World Series is evaporating because the guys are, running out of contract time.
Well, I think it's a team that you got to realize they won the World Series last year and they didn't lose too many pieces. It's just they were just wrecked with tons of key players going down.
Well, yeah,
they'll be back again next year.
Kane was hurt for a lot to start the season, and then to lose Moose and Gordon.
Exactly, and Gordon off of a new contract as well too.
Yeah, but that team, regardless, looking at them even fully healthy, they still have a lot of holes. So you wonder, do you trade a couple of those pieces to try to start filling those holes?
I'd say, surprisingly, losing Zobrist is probably the worst thing they could have done.
Yeah, but they weren't going to re-sign
him. I know. I'm just saying.
Plus, as soon as that man hit the free agent market, everybody and their mother
of course,
but
all I'm saying is how crucial he was to the Royals, and losing him ended up being a lot more than they probably expected it to be.
Well, especially because they don't have anybody who can play second base.
Thank you for proving my point. Okay.
But, all right, so what do you guys think about the Mariners? It's a team that's kind of been up and down throughout the season, been competing. Now they're kind of starting to taper off a little bit. They got some pieces in place. They're probably running out of championship window, but they also have some of these key pieces that they can easily flip. Nobody's going to take Robinson Cano's contract, even though he's playing fantastic. Cruz as well has got a pretty large contract. The team with this team, their pitching hasn't been as good as you would have hoped. I mean, King Felix has been hurt most of the season, and Taijuan Walker hasn't been as good as you'd like him to be. He's not consistent. Hiyashi Iwakuma is lacking a lot of consistency as well. And then they don't really. I mean, you start to go down the line. That rotation isn't very deep.
Sorry, go ahead.
So what? They're 6 games back from the Rangers right now, it looks like, and so they're probably a wild card team at best.
I think they're only like 3 or 4 out in the wild card right now.
Yeah, so I definitely think they should be buyers. They need pitching help, but
and like I said, their window is now because of Cruz and Cano.
Yeah, they can straight hit on that team. They need to get pitching to help their hitters. So
yeah, getting King Felix back from injury is nice. That's going to be very helpful. What you really want to see, the key for this team in the second half is going to be Iwakuma and Walker trying to find some consistency.
I agree.
I think they're like Colin said, a few games out of first place. I don't think they're going to catch the Rangers. I think they probably won't make the wild card spot, but they're close enough where they may acquire a few different players.
The thing is they got, because of getting Vogelbach, I've heard a lot of talk of them dealing Adam Lind. Which they might be able to find some pitching help if they were able to deal Lind. But I don't know who's going to want Adam Lind at all. I mean, probably some AL team is going to want him, but I don't know how many teams are going to be looking for him or a DH.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think about the White Sox?
What do you think?
Hide your jerseys.
Right.
Yeah, no kidding.
No shit.
So
we're going to keep making that joke until it's not funny anymore, and it's going to be funny for a long fucking time.
They're definitely not going to win the division. I think the Indians are going to run away with that.
Yeah.
I think they should be sellers, but we'll see. We've heard the Chris Sale rumors about him being traded, but I don't think anyone will pay that high for Chris Sale, but who knows?
I think there's only one team. There's only one team that I think that can meet that price, and I think it's the Rangers.
Yeah, that's the rumors, right? The Rangers.
Okay, just the thought of having Hamels, Sale, and Darvish as their top 3. Yeah, good fucking luck to the rest of the AL. Seriously.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But the problem is it's going to cost a ton to get him.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, so Sale's been out there. I first started to hear a lot of talk about Quintana. That guy's a perfect, decent-priced guy that's going to give you nice middle-of-the-rotation, 2 or 3 numbers. Nobody's going to take Shields, and they're not going to deal Rodon.
I wouldn't take Shields on a free, by the way.
But yeah, I've heard reports that everybody's available. Adam Eaton's available. That's an interesting guy for somebody to go out. It's a good defender, left-handed bat, runs pretty well, hits for a little bit of pop, not too much though. I know there's a couple teams looking for outfielders. The Orioles looking for outfielders. I think the Indians are looking for outfielders. So anybody looking for a left-handed bat, I mean, that's actually a guy the Cubs might roughly consider, but I think his price tag, again, that would be too high. Probably actually higher than Reddick, because I think he's got a year or two left on his contract after this season. So, but yeah, I think
there's probably like some unwritten rule too that you can't trade to the other side of Chicago as well. You got to keep that in mind.
Well, tell that to Sammy Sosa and Ron Santo.
Oh, I mean, those are the only two out of a long time. So.
Those are big names,
Yeah.
though. Come on.
Well, I know, but anyway.
All right, let's try to move on here. I'm gonna give you guys a team. You guys give me a need.
Okay.
Baltimore Orioles.
Baltimore. They don't need hitting. I think pitching for sure for Baltimore.
Jeremy Hellickson.
Yeah.
Yeah, starting pitching. Hellickson. That's one of the top destinations for Hellickson, I think.
That's what I think. Yep.
Toronto Blue Jays.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
I would probably say starting pitching again.
God.
They have enough hitting. So the Jose Bautista rumors, is he going to get you traded, do you think?
I don't know.
I don't think so, but who
Hey,
knows?
what if he gets traded to the Rangers? That'd be funny.
Oh, God.
But
I don't think it'd be like freaking fight night every night between him and Rugen and Odor.
exactly. My money's on Odor, by the way. But I'd say for need Blue Jays again. I think they need a top tier pitcher. Stroman's regressed. R.A. Dickey, he's never been quite that good. Who else they got?
You got Aaron Sanchez.
Okay, they have Sanchez, but I mean,
Estrada.
like you need like
He's
a
been-
top.
Estrada's been their best pitcher this
Yeah.
year.
Well, I know, but like.
So, yeah, they need more pitching.
Yeah, that's all it is. Anywhere, whether it's a starter or a bullpen, they may as well start acquiring them.
Yeah.
So,
All right, what do you guys think about the Astros? I know we talked about we don't think that they're going to make any deals, but if you had to put a need on there, what would you put?
Well, what's happened to Dallas Keuchel this year? I mean,
I was going to say they probably
Yeah.
need to get somebody to get
Yeah.
a Ouija board out and channel Dallas Keuchel's career from last season.
yeah.
mhm.
What the heck happened? It's
Oh, he's been throwing better lately, but he's really had some issues this season.
I think him and Kluber, like him and Corey Kluber from the Indians, both have been kind of struggling, but good, definitely
Well,
good. Well,
Kluber,
okay.
right in the middle of
Kluber,
that.
you also
Cy
got to
Young.
remember when he started the season, it took him a while to find his footing. And
Yeah, but
Keuchel-
if you look at, he doesn't have the ERA numbers, but if you start to look at some of his sabermetrics,
right,
Kluber's off the charts in
Oh,
comparison to some
I
of the
know
other.
he's good, but
So he's right in the heart of that Cy Young discussion in the
right,
AL.
and he is a Cy Young guy, and so is Keuchel. It'll just for the Astros, I think for me, and I'm just kind of I'm thinking about the top of their roster from top to bottom, and I think they need another big power guy at first or third. I know
Well,
they
I
have
was
Springer.
I was thinking first base would be with the most needed,
I was
but
thinking first.
they just called up Alex Bregman, who's probably going to play third base for them, which moves Luis Valbuena over to first. So they might have gotten their first baseman already. So I don't think they're going to make any moves.
But I think if they were to acquire someone, I would say that they would need a first baseman who can mash at least 30 a year.
I mean, so that's the talk about Adam Lind right there. Is maybe
Right.
that's a landing spot for Adam Lind.
Because I know they have guys who can hit power like Correa and Altuve and Springer, and Rasmus, but they need like a
Can we talk about how a 5'6" dude can mash 20 home runs a year?
Altuve
Yes.
and steal
How
like
does that
30
even
bases easily? Yeah.
Yeah,
Crazy.
he's like a 20-40 guy. Although it's not fair when you get to play 81 of your games in a home park where left field is 310 feet away.
Is this both divisions? Okay. What's
So,
next?
all right,
on
what
our
do you
list?
What?
What's next on our list?
Cardinals.
who?
I would say, yeah. I don't know. I don't even know if you guys can even ask this question because it's the Cardinals. But I would. I mean, they're
Cardinals
always
will need
just
to go to
solid.
prison, just like that executive.
They need. I mean, the Cardinals. I hate them as much as y'all do. Believe me. But I think if I'm looking at their roster, what they need the most, Waka's been. Wainwright's been
their whole pitching staff.
Actually, Wainwright's been pretty good
Yeah.
the past month or two.
But they
Starting to channel
again
that
another team that could use a starting pitcher, maybe a couple.
Their pitching staff has been a huge disappointment, I think.
Martinez has been good too. Like he's
Yeah,
been
they
good.
need bullpen help is what they need.
Yeah,
They really hit the ball pretty well. But yeah, they need bullpen help is what they need.
It's redundant, but you need pitching this time of year. Any way you can get it.
Everyone does. You're right.
Yeah.
All right. So what do you guys think about the Marlins?
Well, I think they're staying pat, but what do you guys think?
I think they're going to go out and get a starting pitcher. I think that's the landing spot for Hellickson. I think that they'll find some deal that works out to get Hellickson there.
I don't know. We don't trade a lot in the division. We really don't. And that's just not my personal preference. That's just track record. We usually don't trade a lot to rivals.
Yeah, but the thing is the Marlins do have a couple. So looking at what the Phillies are looking for their their trade pieces, they're looking for a couple of young live arms. The Marlins don't have a great farm system, but they do have a couple of young arms with some fire to them that might interest the Phillies.
Yeah, I mean, oh God, but I think about our farm system, and we need bats more than we need arms. And I'm just speaking off because trust me, when you're at this part of being a Phillies fan, you're looking at MLB Pipeline every week, trying to see when there's new stuff in there. All right, and I see it every week. We have a lot of arms.
I remember
like
being there.
Bats.
Trust me, I used to look at on Bleacher Report and check the top prospect watch every single week for the Cubs.
Yep. Welcome
back
to my
when
life
Christian
now.
Villanueva was like our 5th rated prospect. Now he's like 50th.
We're experiencing the same things, just in different time ranges, my friend. All right.
Do you think they the Marlins try to go out and get a second baseman at all? Because D. Gordon's not playoff eligible.
D. fucking Gordon.
Is he not playoff eligible?
He's not. Which, by the way, Colin,
What's the standings in the East right now?
The standings in the East. I think they're 4.5 back.
Oh, I honestly didn't know they were competing that well.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I'm telling you, they're leading the second wild card spot.
Okay, all right. I honestly was not aware of that.
Let's take a second to just admire Jose Fernandez, though, for a second. He's got 175 strikeouts on the season already.
Hey, I have Scherzer, who's got like 200-something already. But anyway, that's fantasy.
Hey, Alex, do me a favor.
Oh,
Turn your head and look at Colin. Turn your head and look at Colin. Ask him who traded Jose Fernandez at the beginning of the season.
Hey, Alex, ask Quoggs who leads the ERA in the fantasy league. Oh, wait, I do.
Awkward. Anyway.
That's because you traded
Stop
half your team to get Arrieta.
I can't think of a second baseman off the top of my head as like a trade chip to go to Miami is the only thing. I can't think of anybody. I don't know if there is someone, but I'm thinking of lower teams who aren't competing and thinking about whether they have any second baseman who they could use, in Miami. But I can't think of anybody off the top of my head.
So, all right, let's switch up here. Now, give me 2 teams that really need to nail this trade deadline.
Ooh. What do you think? While you're thinking about it, I think for me, if I'm looking at contenders, the thing is, I'm trying to think of teams that are really going to go out and try and acquire people, and I think I guess the Red Sox, given how much they've given up for these few players, they need it to go right. But I don't know if you mean in the future sense or
No, I'm talking about with the coming impending deadline.
Yeah.
2 teams that are still looking to make moves, either contenders or sellers, that need to do things the right way. Either they got to sell off the right pieces, or they got to make sure that they don't give up too many prospects, or whatever.
I would say. I mean, do you have any ideas on top of your head?
I think mine is the Dodgers. That's the biggest one for me.
Yeah, with the Kershaw injury, they've really had a lot of starting pitching injuries this season. So
I think for the AL side for me, I think the Blue Jays need to make moves and hope when I say that, get a lot of pitching. I think they need it to go right. Otherwise, they're going to get blown up, I feel, in the playoffs. I know they can hit with anybody, but they can't pitch with everybody. That's for sure. And then on the NL side, I would agree. I think the Dodgers, either them or the Giants, really need to add some extra help, and they need it to go right.
The Giants need some bats.
The NL, and go back 6 years ago, these words would never be uttered out of my mouth, but the Cubs are the benchmark in the NL. And I'm looking at teams like the Dodgers and the Giants, and they will need some help to try and get to that level.
It hurts having to say that, doesn't it?
I just felt like an ulcer in my stomach. All right.
I think AL for me is Blue
Oh,
Jays.
go ahead.
Their division is so competitive. They need to do something, or else it's going to be.
All right.
For me, the two teams that need to hit it are the first is the Padres. They have a couple of really tradable assets right now.
Yeah.
Guy like Upton, not the best contract, and he's probably at his peak value right now. So they got to go out and try to get something for him. Then you look at that rotation, and we're talking about Andrew Kashner and Tyson Ross and some other pieces there that they really got to try to get those moved and keep bringing in, continue this rebuild and bring in those prospects. The other team that I need to that needs to hit it well is the Marlins. I think that they can go for it this year, but they need to be smart because they got to really move their pieces around, right? Because Fernandez is coming up on losing team control pretty soon, and Stanton is still young, so they got to. I think they can go for it this year, but they got to be smart in the way that they do everything, so that they can stay competitive and convince those guys like Fernandez to stay after their contracts are up. I gotta go get my charger. I'll be right back.
Peace
How
out.
about we talk about the teams that need to nail it? How about we talk about give me one team that's in a good position regardless of how this deadline goes?
Now I'm really going to get a fucking ulcer. The Cubs, all right? Let's be serious. They're the best team in baseball, hands down.
Colin, are you going to go there as well?
Yeah, I mean that's the obvious choice.
It's the only choice, really.
Yeah, that's pretty much the only choice. But
This was a waste of 30 seconds because
Yeah.
I'm going to say the Cubs as well. I mean, I can't think of another team that's in such a good position as the Cubs are. I mean, the closest team I can think of is the Red Sox
yeah,
because
the
the
Giants
moves that
are
they've already made
better
have kind of
position
helped
than the
put
Red
them in a
Sox.
it's
position.
an even
But
year.
I
It's kind of scary.
Yeah, so they just got to put it all together, get some consistency, and stay healthy. I mean, the biggest thing with them is they had that slump. They weren't healthy. So,
I agree.
all right, give me the biggest name that's going to be on the move this trade deadline.
Jonathan LaCroix.
See, I think he's staying put.
That's a good shout, though. I like that. That's a good shout.
That's mine. I think he's getting traded. We'll see.
Okay, I'll give you a serious one and a joking one because I know that this joking one will never leave my team, sadly. I would say biggest name moving. Oh, man. Shit, that is a tough one because I'm thinking of contract, and being able to not have a lot. If you're doing a rental, not having a lot of years under the belt.
Mhm.
And truthfully, and I looked this up while you guys we took a little break. Nelson Cruz only has 1 year left at $20 million.
Mhm.
He's old, but you talk about a guy who can hit lights out all the time. I would say.
Is anybody going to be willing to pay for him, though?
I think
well as are the Mariners looking to move him.
Well, I think time will tell whether a lot can change in a week. But he's a big name that I could see moving, or
Yeah.
maybe even someone. I'm trying to think from the Angels, not Mike Trout, but someone like.
I don't think they have anybody.
Well, I mean, how crazy would it be if Pujols got it traded, and he's been playing
He
shit
won't.
out there. I know, but he's been playing shit.
His
And,
contract's got 5 years and
Okay.
$125 million
right.
left on it.
I actually just came.
That's
up
a
with
Ryan
I
Howard
have a good shout for someone that I think could maybe be on the move. Justin Verlander.
That's if the Tigers want to sell.
They will. I think he's a guy on the decline, and he's still that guy who can maybe make a difference.
He could definitely make a difference on a contender.
Interesting one for me would be Charlie Blackmon. I think he could possibly be dealt as well.
The thing with that is him and Cargo have been, especially Cargo, the last 3 seasons, have been talked, and the Rockies just never trade their big guys.
Right. But hey, wouldn't it be kind of cool to see him on the move though? Someone like him and Verlander, whoever.
I mean, I think the number one is if Andrew Miller gets traded, he's the number one. But I don't think he's going to. So we'll see.
I mean, going from the Yankees, my big name that's going to be on the move, which isn't surprising anymore because of the discussion we've had, is Aroldis Chapman.
Yeah.
That was going to be my biggest name on the move.
Yeah, that's fair.
If I had to throw another guy in there, my guess would be probably Jay Bruce.
Yeah, Jay Bruce.
I think Jay Bruce might actually. I think for sure might end up in L.A. because the Dodgers dreadfully need outfield.
Yeah, That'd be a hell of a pickup for the Dodgers if they got him.
Yeah.
All right.
And, I don't know if they'd send Puig in a deal, but I've heard a talk of a couple of their starting pitchers who are top 100 prospects on Keith Law. They might be able to pull back for him.
That's my team that will go for LaCroix. You say his name?
LaCroix. Yeah.
I'm saying it right.
Oh, you think the Dodgers are going to go
I
after
think the
LaCroix?
Dodgers will go for him. We'll see, though.
There's been a lot of talk about him going to the Indians because Yan Gomes has struggled so much.
Yeah,
and now that he's hurt. I think, though, that Derek Norris is going to end up in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. He plays for the Padres, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yes.
God,
yes.
that fucking team. Anyway, what else we got?
Give me an underrated name that can make a big impact on a new squad.
On any squad, you said?
Yeah, any trade from, that might be a minor name in this trade market that can end up on a contender that can make a big impact down the stretch.
Well, I guess, that kind of depends on fit, but I don't even know if you'd call us underrated because his name's been out there for so long. Hellickson. Pitching in a place like Philly right now, why would you even want to go there? But, he's been so good since we've gotten him, and he could slot in right behind someone's, number one guy and give them a ton of innings.
I think he could do some good things in Baltimore.
That's what I'm saying. I think he could make a huge impact wherever he goes.
Colin, what do you think?
I don't think he's that underrated, but Pomerantz in Boston, I think he's going to be huge. We'll see, though.
Okay.
What do you think?
I'm going to go with Matt Moore.
Matt Moore's good, yeah. Any of the Rays pitchers in general.
Where did he get traded?
I don't think Odorizzi or Smiley are going to get moved, and I definitely don't think Archer is going to get moved.
Matt Moore hasn't been traded yet, has he?
No. But he's got a couple years of team control left. He's a pretty tradable asset. He's really struggled since getting hurt a couple years ago. I think that he might end up in Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh desperately needs some starting pitching. And if he can go there, get that run support, and kind of settle in there, he can make a big difference to the Pirates. They're not going to catch the Cubs, in my opinion, but they can really take over control of that wild card.
Good point. I agree.
So, all right, the last topic we got here. Give me an idea for a blockbuster.
Oh my god. A serious one, or because I have a few players on my team that I could throw in and put some fantasy names on the other side and see what happens.
Yeah, no. Give me a serious one. It doesn't have to be likely, but.
All right. Well, let me think about this. What do you got? You got anything off the top of your head? I'm thinking I'm just trying to think of teams that would trade huge names, I could see.
There's not.
Since there's
names this year.
Since there's a huge outburst of the Padres making trades, I could see Matt Kemp moving again. I could see Will Myers moving.
A contract. Will Myers is the big one,
right?
I don't think he's going to want to eat Kemp's contract.
If you move him to a contender, it won't. I don't know if you can count it as a blockbuster by any means. Not like the one the Dodgers pulled off 4 years ago, where they got Gonzalez and Ramirez and all these other guys.
You're talking about Kemp moving or Myers? Because Myers would definitely be a blockbuster.
I would say Will Myers. I would say between the two, Myers first. But then again, he's the younger one, and they may want to keep him. So, and Kemp's been playing decently well this year. So, if you throw a big name on any trade like that, it can be a blockbuster. So that's what I think.
My name I would throw out is Ryan Braun. I think that would be blockbuster.
Yeah,
that would be crazy.
Question is, who's going to want to eat that contract?
Yeah,
I can think of a lot of teams that would eat that contract for Ryan Braun.
Yeah. You talk about a team that has the assets and the money to pull that trade off is the Dodgers.
Yeah, that's.
You talk about them sending Braun to the Dodgers for Puig and a couple prospects.
Yeah,
that would be insane.
Trade itself for the Dodgers, and I think that the Brewers really like that trade.
That would be crazy.
You ready for mine?
Okay.
All right, so I had an idea, and then I stole a bigger part of it from Bleacher Report because I was trying to figure out how this deal would work.
I know you read this off ESPN Insider, but go ahead.
No. I had the idea for the trade myself. I just added a couple pieces. So originally I had Chris Sale going to the Rangers for Lewis Brinson and Joey Gallo. I wasn't sure if that was going to be enough.
That's not enough. Not
the
enough.
trade that Bleacher Report came up with that I think actually makes sense is Chris Sale and Zach Duke go to the Rangers, so they get that top end starter and they get that bullpen help. Then the White Sox get Joey Gallo, Lewis Brinson, Jerks and Profar, Luis Ortiz, and Jose Trevino.
If I was the Rangers, I'd take that in an instant.
If I was a White Sox, I'd take that in an instant.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. It would be good for both sides.
You're talking about Gallo and Profar, two guys you can put on your Major League roster today. Then you talk about Lewis Brinson, who's probably a year or two out. And then Luis Ortiz and Jose Trevino are both solid prospects.
I've seen a lot of Rangers games, and I get the hype behind Joey Gallo, but you talk about a guy who strikes out a lot. I mean, it's unreal. Yeah. But, I mean, you could, like you said, you could start him in the MLB, totally. Profar, another...
We're talking a guy for Gallo that probably mimics Chris Davis.
I would agree. Yeah, I'd say that's a good comparison. I think that...
I mean, he's a lefty bat like Chris Davis is, too.
Profar is nice because he can play everywhere on the infield. Mm. But, again, like, he was their number one guy in their farm system, and he's never really put it together yet, and he's been up.
And he got passed up by Rougned Odor.
Yeah, and he's been in and out of the lineup in the majors for like 2 or 3 years now, and he still hasn't been able to click yet and like solidify a spot in the lineups.
Yeah,
I would still take it if I'm Chicago. Why wouldn't you? I mean,
yeah, I don't think they will pull that trigger because I mean Jerry Reinsdorf has a diluted sense of reality that he thinks that the White Sox can compete every season. So I don't think that he will, unless Chris Sale continues to cut up jerseys, but that might lower his trade value.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
I'm telling you, people, we're going to keep making these jokes until it's not funny, and it's going to be funny for a long time.
That team, the whole Adam LaRoche thing and then that's just what a hilarious, team that is right now.
It really has been kind of an interesting year for them, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been – God, when was the last time they were competing? Seriously. Mm-hmm. It's been a while. So, I mean, the fact that we don't even remember, I mean, that tells you all you need to know. So, again, it would be interesting. That would be crazy. If you're a Rangers fan and you get Chris Sale, holy shit. Like, that would be insane. That would be insane.
Yeah, that would be, they got the bats. Although, I mean, you look at a guy like, what the hell happened to Prince Fielder? But they got the bats in that lineup, especially when you look at how Nomar Mazara has been playing.
Yep, Nomar, he's been pretty good.
Ian Desmond completely rebuilt his career.
That guy has been insane this year.
Mm-hmm.
The Rangers look real good in the AL. They do.
Yeah, and if they got, the thing is that they got confidence that they can re-sign him, and with the ability of Nomar Mazara playing so well, and Shin-Soo Choo is available on the roster for a couple more seasons, you can have the confidence to trade a guy like Gallo and Profar and Brinson.
I agree.
So
I think just look at that team. Like 4 years ago, Mazara, Odor, all those guys weren't even like close to even playing for the Rangers, or anyone knew who they are. And now, like, these guys are like all stars. Like they're okay. Well, they weren't, but they're above average players, and I think the Rangers somehow, they're kicking along. I mean, you got Andrews, you got Odor, you got Beltre, you get Moreland's been playing well. If Darvish can put together more than 2 starts without getting injured, they might be in the World Series this year. So
yeah. So all right, that's everything we got for you people who decided to watch for over an hour. You're good people.
Should we do predictions, Clocks?
Yeah, finish it off with your AL and NL MVPs and Cy Young so far, and your World Series prediction.
Okay, so we're going to do that now?
Yeah, and your World Series prediction.
My AL MVP is Big Papi.
Okay.
My AL Cy Young, I haven't looked at the numbers. I've been kind of torn between Sale and Kluber. NL MVP, I'm torn between Brizzo.
Brizzo, yeah.
And then for NL Cy Young, like I said earlier, Kershaw just opened the door wide open, but I'd have to give it to Fernandez right now.
What do you think?
I would agree with those. I think Bryant wins NL. AL, I like Mookie Betts, but I think Poppy will win it. He deserves it. I mean, obviously, but what a great way to send him off.
The people voting are gonna have a little bit of sentiment towards him being
to
his
send him
last
off,
season.
Yeah, but Cy Young's. Yeah, that's tough. I think NL is wide open. I mean, Arrieta's kind of struggled a little bit in the past couple starts, and Kershaw's injured, so.
Yeah, I think Kershaw's injury pushes Fernandez right to the top. I mean, the
Yeah,
guy's got like a 2.7 ERA, and he's almost struck out 200 guys already.
Yeah, I like that pick.
Yeah.
Who's another one we could throw out
For
there?
the AL or
Oh, Baumgartner.
Baumgartner for the NL. Yeah, he's been solid. He hasn't jumped off the page for me. Maybe it's because I'm all the way on the East Coast. You guys are at least in Nebraska. You hear a little bit more about the West Coast stuff.
Oh yeah.
I think for me, oh geez,
Strasburg you could throw in there too.
Strasburg too, yeah, definitely.
AL MVP. I mean, Poppy's the front runner, but I think right behind him is Encarnacion so far. Like, holy shit. Like, that guy...
You refused to trade for me the entire first month of the season.
Yeah. I traded his ass, and then he started to go off. And I think he's a shout. I think for AL Cy Young, I think it's Sale and then everybody else right now. I think for the NL MVP... Oh, man, that's where it gets tough. I would say... Oh, gosh, I'm trying to think of... I mean, yeah, Bryant Rizzo, easy... decisions. I would say maybe throw in like Cespedes into that conversation.
And I'm trying to think who else in the NL really is warranting. I can't think. I know there's somebody, but I just can't think of anybody on the top of my head.
I mean, like,
one thing I'll say about the AL is Altuve.
Well, always a shout. Always a shout, that guy.
I mean, he's hitting 354 last I checked, I think.
Probably here. I'll look it up. I got my stats right here. He's hitting 357, has 73 runs, 15 home runs, 54.
What's his OBP?
His what?
On base percentage.
Now that I can't see from this. Is it 5? No, that's not it. That can't be it.
No, it can't be 5.
No, I'm looking at his
3.
slash line. I was looking at his slash line. I mean, if I had to guess, I'm saying it's probably high, like 480 or something like that. Seriously.
Yeah. He's probably slugging for a 520 or something.
I think you could throw for NL. I think you could throw Arenado in there as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But I think it's.
You always wonder though, with anybody that plays in Colorado 81 times a year, do those numbers get inflated a little bit? So that kind of bumps you down with your voting a little bit.
Right. But, I mean, okay. So, I mean, all right. Then AL, you could throw in Trout. You could throw in Harper. I mean, there's a lot of guys, but I'd say right now it's Poppy. And
the thing with Harper is he has not been the same since that 4-game series against the Cubs. Because I think Madden exposed how to pitch to him, which is don't pitch to him.
I would say, though, Poppy is leading in the AL. NL MVP for me right now is probably, and I'm making sure I'm backing this up with at least decent numbers. Give me a second here. Oh, wrong guy. I would say, I don't know. NL's tough. NL's wide open, but I'd say Bryant.
Between Bryant and Rizzo, it's
God,
I think Bryant's got the runs, but Rizzo's got the RBIs. Their averages are almost the same. They almost got the same home run totals.
Yeah, it's Bryant. It's Bryant.
Yeah.
I just looked at his stats again to refresh my memory.
Look at Rizzo's too, though.
Yeah, hold on.
Rizzo, that's tough between those two.
NL Cy Young, I don't know if I said that. Yeah, I would say Bryant between those two. But I would say NL Cy Young, like you said, with Kershaw going, yeah, it's probably Fernandez is in there easily.
I'd probably put Strasburg at 2, and then 3, you got to put Arrieta there and some other some other names.
Below that, you can put Scherzer, you can put Kershaw. I mean, there's a lot of
Scherzer is that he's struck out so many guys, but he's got like career high in like home runs given up already this season.
So I got him. He's 10-6, 181 strikeouts with .94 WHIP. Scherzer.
Okay, so he's just a little bit higher on the strikeouts.
Yeah, .94 WHIP too, which I like. Okay, weird, but I forgot his numbers were this good. Josh Tomlin in Cleveland looks good too.
Mm-hmm. Their Cleveland pitching staff is good.
They said, I remember this a few weeks ago. I don't know if it still holds true, but they said he has the best walk to strikeout ratio in the majors, if I'm not mistaken.
Huh.
And he's 10-3.
No.
Well, this was a few weeks ago. This is a few weeks ago. I don't know if
it's been Kershaw because Kershaw has like 8 walks and like 170 strikeouts.
I promise you, I read that he had the best ratio, or I heard that he had the best ratio for walks.
Plus, Tomlin's only walked like one player and struck out like 90 guys or something.
Could happen.
Yeah, because at one point Kershaw had like 130 strikeouts and like 4 walks, which is insane.
Well, yeah, the guy is insane. All right, what's your World Series prediction right here? Let me get Cubs against who?
I mean, I gotta say the Cubs, and not just because I'm a Cubs fan. It's just I'm wondering who in the NL.
It's just common sense. It's the Cubs. All right. So
I'm just wondering who in the NL can beat them.
Nobody. That's why I'm saying they're mine, and I don't even have to think about it. So.
Yeah, I mean,
who are they playing now? Who are they playing in the?
I think it's the Giants for me. Giants or Dodgers, but. Who knows?
Well,
the Dodgers might not even make it.
I don't think the Dodgers, especially in October, I don't trust the Dodgers.
No, I'm asking who they're playing in the World Series.
Yeah.
Who from the AL? Who from the AL?
I like the Red Sox this year. That's my pick. Red Sox, Cubs.
It depends which David Price shows up.
Yeah, it does.
Is it regular season David Price or is it postseason David Price?
That's always the question, isn't it?
That team's going to go as David Price goes.
Mm-hmm.
Because Big Papi can be Mr. October or Senior October as much as he wants, but you need to have some pitching. See who else is in the playoff hunt? The Indians, but I don't really trust them. I probably want to say the Rangers, especially if they had an arm at the deadline.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably say Cubs. I'm probably gonna say the Cubs versus the Rangers.
At this point, I'm saying Cubs Rangers. But from the AL, I could also see someone like the Orioles getting there.
And if you want me to put a games on it, I'm going to say 5 games.
I'm assuming Cubs winning in 5 games.
Yeah, because especially watching that weekend series right after the All-Star break, the Cubs really dominated that series except for the last game when they just really couldn't hit.
Although
which is going to happen.
I would say I would say that it would be 7 games because I think that, and I'm just, you can argue with me all you want on this, but when Hamels gets to the playoffs, the man is a machine.
Well, here's kind of what I think. The Cubs would lose the first game because it'd be Arrieta versus Hamels.
First and
because
fifth
Cubs
game,
can't seem to hit Hamels the last 2 seasons.
He
no-hit him last
I know you
year.
guys got to him over the All-Star break, but that was his first start off the DL, and he still struck out 11 batters in 6 innings. I think that that team, the Rangers, it will be a run for the money for the Cubs, but I still think the Cubs win it.
Yeah, and I wonder.
Imagine if the Rangers get Chris Sale, like you're saying. Good luck.
If they get Chris Sale, that's a way different story.
Now we're saying maybe 7 games to the Rangers in that one.
No, now we're saying lace up your cleats because it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, true. Either way, I'll be watching. So.
Although Chris Sale might want to try to channel his first 6 at-bats against Chris Bryant instead of the one in the All-Star.
As long as in the World Series there's no Cardinals, there's no Giants, and there's no Dodgers, I don't give a fuck.
It's a Giant season. Be careful with this, though.
Okay, to everyone who sees this, fuck the Giants, all right, and the Cardinals.
I second that second one.
As a Phillies fan, I'm allowed to say that. Because we hit them twice on their even years, those bastards. Either way, that's all I got.
Yeah, that's all I got. Colin, you got anything?
Nope, I'm good.
All right, thanks, Jake Arrieta, for joining us. You gotta go pitch tomorrow.
Yeah, okay, I need to get his autograph before I leave. Hold on, let me grab my scrap paper.
All right, thanks for watching, everybody. We'll probably do another one after the deadline like this to wrap everything up. And when football season rolls around, we'll get Dexter to join us.
Oh, God.
Because she gives shit about football.
I don't know if I can handle that.
It might get a little more vulgar up in here.
Well, maybe we should try and bring in PJ. Oh, wait, I don't know where he's at anymore.
He's married.
We'll try. But, all right. Thanks for watching, guys.
Peace out.